Hi, everyone. My name is April Caldwell. I'm on the board of directors for the Action Zone nonprofit that helps military and veterans start and grow their businesses. And today, well, actually, this week is National Veteran Small Business Week. And we are doing some interviews with different veteran-owned businesses that we know and that are going to be either in the Tampa area or moving soon, which we have Viola here. I'd love for you, Viola, just to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about you.
Okay. I always get nervous answering those. Tell me a little bit about you, and then it goes into a whole. But Viola Carmona, I am the founder CEO of Champion Lender, and we are moving into the Tampa Bay area. I'm really excited about that. I am also a veteran, spent 8 years in the Navy as aviation maintenance administration min, and I loved like every single minute of it, but got out considering I was forward deployed when I decided to adopt my son, and definitely miss it, but being an entrepreneur is pretty fun too. So yeah.
Awesome. And so you said you were in the Navy. What time did you serve? When were you serving?
So I served I got out in 2011, so it was like 8 years prior. 8 years prior to that, it was I got out of the military. I got out of high school in 2005. 2006, I joined, and then in 2011, I got out and did the rest of my time at active duty reserve.
Oh, very good. So are you still technically in the reserves?
No.
Oh.
I got out completely after my 8 years. So what ends up happening is you do 4 years active, 4 years reserve to complete like your 8-year contract. So you can do 4 years. You can do all 8 years active. I chose to do the 4 years. It was more like 5 years active duty, and then I spend the rest of the time in active duty reserve. So just like the 1 week in a month, and then I get out. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so you're in Orlando currently, but you're moving to Tampa. So what about Tampa is bringing you here, drawing you here?
Well, so recently we got accepted to the Tampa Bay Waves Accelerator Tech Women Rising program, and after a couple sessions, I realized that I'm not familiar with Orlando's ecosystem for entrepreneurs, but I felt an immediate sense of community in Tampa, and it's something that I've never felt in my entire career. I started this company when I was living in San Diego. That's where I was stationed, and then decided when I got out, that's where I was going to stay. And so I moved to the Orlando area last year during the pandemic, but I'm trying to find some local resources here for entrepreneurs, business owners, and even veterans was a little bit difficult. This is a very like medical med tech area. And since we are prop tech, fintech, there's not a lot of that going on here, but so it was definitely the community, the support, and my specific field that drew me to Tampa.
Awesome. And so tell me a little bit about Champion Lender and what made you decide to even start a business.
Yeah, so getting out of the military, I needed a job. As most people who get out of the military know, there's a bit of a gap between when you get out and when you start to receive your benefits. So being a new mom, I had to get a job right away that can fit with my schedule, and I ended up at a mortgage call center. Worked my way up to chief operating officer, and then when that company had a pretty decent exit, instead of going to work somewhere else or to the new company, I just decided to start my own, since I had built up a wealth of clients and knowledge in the business. And then in 4 years into the business, I realized that a lot of my leads that were coming through were being rejected at the underwriting stage, which was unusual, and normal lead generators don't really measure success at that point. They just do it at the beginning. And so when I started to notice that it was, mostly minorities, and even some like single moms and stuff like that, we realized that there's a problem, and I didn't want to be part of the problem. So we converted our lead generation company to a mortgage brokerage, and we created the home program, which helps anybody really anywhere from 3 to 12 months out from purchasing a home, remove some of those traditional barriers, especially for the Black and Brown community, and so they can obtain home ownership.
And how long have you been at this?
3 years now. The first year that we decided to become brokers, it was just definitely like kind of testing things out and seeing what sticks, what works. But then the second year, we kind of had the program go through pretty nice. And this is our third year where we're now building the platform to be able to do this, because it's been manual, like just trial and error at the first 2 years.
Great. And then, like, what type of resources were available to you when you first started, or what resources maybe do you wish you had when you first started?
Coming out of the military.
Yeah, when you started the business, like,
Oh,
what was available? Did you attend any programs, or were there any education programs that helped you start your business?
no, none that I knew of. And I think that was a major issue. My first year in business was horrible. I thought because I was the chief operating officer of an established company that I was experienced enough to go out on my own, and I was quickly humbled and realized it was very, very difficult. When you transition out of the military, I'm not sure of the other branches, but you take something called TAPS class, which is like a week period that they teach you how to transition from the military life into the civilian life, and they put some resume things together, and it's very like cookie cutter surface level. And not to take anything away from the military, and especially from that point till now, there's been tons of programs that have popped up, but it's not very like advertised, especially if you're a good sailor, soldier, Marine. They kind of make it difficult for you to actually leave. So they don't really tell you all the fun things that they offer, and the benefits that they offer once you transition out. So I kind of started my business. Like I said, I was very humbled very quickly. Didn't, you know, access or even know where to access some of these programs that I see now, that some of not just military members, but anyone who's looking to start a business, there are tons of programs out there. I mean, there's stuff that I'm still learning now. So yeah, I mean, I started with zero knowledge other than maybe go to the bank and get a loan and see how that works. But then, you have to do business for so long and have some type of revenue in order to get a loan. And it was just, it was
Catch
definitely,
22.
yeah.
Yeah. My other question would be, like, what is the hardest part about running your business specifically?
My business specifically, the hardest part, I would say there's two things. One is making sure that we stay compliant. I mean, compliance is such a huge part of our business that most people don't realize that we always have to watch what we say, what we do, what we quote, and you're constantly having to review things. Um, for me specifically in my company, not just the industry, but in my company, if I don't get up every day to go to work, that really impacts um, my employees. It impacts my customers. And most people think that the minute you own a business, you can just chill and hang out and everything's great. But most people don't realize this is 14-hour days, sometimes 7 days a week, and you sacrifice a lot of your personal time, your family time. I know that I do, for a greater goal. So sometimes it gets a little difficult to have to, like, hear my kids like, "Oh, mom, you have to work again," or something like that. But you know, you're working towards a goal. You really believe in your company, so that's what keeps you going. But I would be lying to say that that wasn't the most difficult thing about my company specifically.
Yeah, that's so true, man. You have no idea when you first start out, like, how much you actually have to sacrifice just to be a business owner. And the last question I have is, what would you do differently if you could start over from the beginning? Like, are there any steps that you would do differently, or maybe things that you would have taken advantage of?
Yeah, I probably would have went straight to the VA and figured out what programs. I don't think I did any type of research on my own, or tried to educate myself before I jumped in. And I think that was a huge mistake for me. Um, I'm not saying that these resources weren't available. I just didn't know about them or was self-aware to find those things. So the first thing I would have done was gone there. And then the second thing is build a community of other entrepreneurs, because what I've learned from other entrepreneurs has helped my business tenfold. Just within the community, with sharing information, with sharing resources, joining these groups, that I would have done that immediately, and I probably wouldn't have had a lot of the downs that I had the first year.
Wow, that's great. And I will just say as a point that Action Zone, isn't available nationwide, at least not yet, but it is a resource here in Florida for veterans and military folks who are interested in starting businesses at different levels. So not just people who are at the beginning stages, but people who are further along in your business like yourself. So we'd be happy to have you on one of our programs. And I'm so excited to have met you. I'm really glad that we're in the Tampa Bay Wave program together and that you're a fellow veteran. It's always nice to have another veteran that we can kind of share stories and, some good, some bad, but, we take the good with the bad when we do this together. So I just appreciate you for taking the time out of your day today. And I love what Champion Lender is doing. I'm so excited to see where you're going to go and where you're going to take your team next. So thanks for letting me interview you. And I guess I'll see you when I see you. Thanks so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.